Paris here, and I'm in a park in New Orleans, and look at the nature. Check it out. I want to be quiet so I don't scare anyone away. There's a turtle, and right here there's a pelican. Hello, beautiful. Oh. Pelicans are some of my most beloved spirit animals, and I was trying to decide, look at this tree, where to record for you guys for the monthly Magic Book Club, which I know I'm extremely late on, and I very much apologize, and thank you for your patience. Sometimes traveling does not go exactly as we would imagine that it would, and oftentimes, especially when you meet a city like this one, who I have this really weird love for, unlike any other city I've ever met, things come up, and work doesn't go as it usually does, so let me see if I can find... Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Oh, how beautiful. Seriously, I mean, come on. How could you not love the city? Okay, so let me find a place to sit this camera down, and I will let you guys know about the book club and what's been going on. Let's see. Can you go right there? I think you can. When? Maybe not. Oh. Thanks for your patience, you guys. Okay. Okay. Oh, almost. Okay. See, it's real-time video editing. Not really. Okay. Got it. All right. Good. So we just finished up Winged Pharaoh, which was the book about the Egyptian priest Pharaoh, and her name was Sakita. And, you know, it's funny, because I was looking through this book and trying to figure out what type of... Ooh, there's a bird that just ate a fish or something. Lizard? I don't know. I swear the land here is the most alive of any land I've ever known. Well, not the most, but in a very peculiar way. So, anyway, she was a pharaoh priest, and that meant she went through years and years of training in the temples according to the pantheon that they believed in. But what I find very interesting is it taught them things about the way that reality works and the way that nature of the human consciousness works and the different pieces of it, along with the physical body, that I found a lot of them to be very truthful and very just correct in my personal experience. So I was trying to find an excerpt to read for you guys, and there were just so many amazing ones that I couldn't really pick. So I decided, I'm so sorry about this, you guys. You know that usually I have better camera stability than this, but this tree is just very wiggly. So I decided that at the time of the recording, I would just open it up and give you guys a bit of whatever wanted to come. So just setting an intention that you get whatever you need from this. Even if you have no interest in this subject, you just happen to watch to see what New Orleans looks like. Okay, and feels like. Let's see. Trying to find you a really good, like, deep excerpt here. I think I will read you something from the very last chapter, because it talks a lot about how she felt when she was old and when her body was starting to age and she was feeling like maybe it was time for her to leave. So, this is kind of nice. Okay, it's kind of a glimpse of their town, and I think that it's very apt being here in New Orleans, which is a very sacred city, it feels like to me. It's in chapter 6, The Heart of Calm, and Calm was what they called Egypt. Up and down the great river of Calm, our temples stand like an avenue of torches. The voices of priests are heard in the sanctuaries, and the courtyards whisper with the feet of sandal bearers. But the priests of our children are still on the bodies of children. So on the 7th day of the 7th month of each year, all children who are in their 7th year are taken to the temples for the seers to look upon their gateways. And children whose bodies sit lightly upon them, and who, in the great journey, travel along the pathway of a priest, return to the temple for their further training when they are 12 years old, so that in their turn they can become the lifeblood of the heart of Calm. And I love it, because yeah, it's technically about what gods they believed in, but I also think the priests were also often the doctors and the ones who just kind of kept the wisdom and were kind of the shepherds of people who didn't necessarily want to think about that stuff, but who still wanted guidelines to live by. Personally, I'm of the belief in our current world that we all have internal barometers, so we don't necessarily need to ascribe to any type of mythology or cosmology in order to know what to do. However, it's still lovely to see that. So we're done with Winged Pharaoh. I have a couple questions for you guys who are in the book club, and I will put the this video in the book club and Facebook, and I'll put the link to the book club down below this video in the info section. So 2 things. One is, what did you think of the difference between their technology and our technology? Because they didn't have things like electricity. I don't think she ever mentioned them having anything like running water, where some ancient cultures did. But it seemed okay, and it didn't really seem like it was a very uncomfortable existence for her. So a lot of times nowadays, when we look around at the things that we've built, we think that they make our lives so much easier, but I'm really not sure. Are they easier, or are they just different? I don't know, and I'd love to know what you guys think. And the second thing was the way that their wisdom ran and the way that their intuition ran, and how it was set in such a narrow path. And so when she went to visit other countries, ones who weren't of such an ancient tradition that had their stuff handed down to them forever and ever, she often had judgments about those countries and said that it was better or worse to be young in spirit versus ancient in spirit and holding all these old ways. And I don't know, do you think that is freeing or calcifying? I'm not sure. I kind of think it could be both, depending on how it comes. So I would love to know what you guys think of it. So the new monthly Magic Book Club, which a lot of you guys have already started, which I am late to introduce to you in a video, is The Secret Life of Plants by Peter Tompkins and Christopher Bird. Right there. And this is an older copy. I really love this copy. I love the picture of her face, because I just feel like that's what flowers look like. You know, if you were to paint a picture of a flower's face, I just think it's very accurate. It's very multidimensional too, how the clouds are of a certain kind of dimension and the flowers of a different one. I love it. And with this book, I really like it because it talks about research. And a lot of times when you talk to people about the things that I talk to people about, my friends and colleagues and stuff, they often will say something like, well, you know, the research doesn't show that, or it's not verifiable, or they'll make all these judgments on what the research says, often when they haven't researched it. So I would beg you to, if you're going to talk about the research about something, or you're going to talk about what science knows, please research it first yourself and see what the research actually does know. Because I have had the conversation a lot in the past, maybe 2 or 3 years, of people who are like, well, research doesn't show that. And I say, have you looked at the research on it? And they invariably say no. So if you have strong opinions about what is or is not possible and you toot them to others, I would highly suggest that you find out what we actually do know about it. But that said, this book does actually talk about research and replicable studies that have been done, but they also put it in a lovely kind of container of not feeling too textbooky. It does feel kind of textbooky. It doesn't read like a novel like our next book club book will do, which is amazing. I cannot wait to introduce that. But, you know, it's still really good. Okay. Here's a lovely quote for you guys. It's about roots, how roots work. Worm-like rootlets, which Darwin likened to a brain, burrow constantly downward with thin white threads, crowding themselves firmly into the soil, tasting it as they go. Small hollow chambers in which a ball of starch can rattle indicate to the root tips the direction of the pull of gravity. I think it's kind of like our inner ear, you know? When the earth is dry, its roots turn toward moister ground, finding their way into buried pipes, stretching, as in the case of the lowly alfalfa plant, as far as 40 feet, developing an energy that can bore through concrete. No one has yet counted the roots of a tree, but a study of a single rye plant indicates a total of over 13 million rootlets with a combined length of 380 miles. On these rootlets of a rye plant are fine root hairs, estimated to number some 14 billion, with a total length of 6,600 miles, almost the distance from pole to pole. As the special burrowing cells are worn out by contact with stones, pebbles, and large grains of sand, they are rapidly replaced, but when they reach a source of nourishment, they die and are replaced by cells designed to dissolve mineral salts and collect the resulting elements. This basic nourishment is passed from cell to cell up through the plant, which constitutes a single unit of protoplasm, a watery or gelatinous substance considered the very basis of physical life. So they go to talk about how climbing vines will find the thing around. They'll reach toward the structure without being able to see it or smell it, or somehow they just know it's there. And then in chapter 1, I was just reading you stuff out of the intro. In chapter 1, it talks about Baxter. And Baxter was a scientist who, it started in 1966. He was just putting some electrodes on his plant to see if it could make a difference when he put water in it or something. And he totally found out the plants have emotions and that they could feel his intention coming. These agree. definitely. And so, anyway, Secret Life Plants is our new book club book. We're going to read it from the new moon that just happened about a week ago, March 30th, to the new moon that happens at the end of April. And I do have an event coming up on April 14th, which is a Return of the Goddess live call. And it's essentially just going to be a bunch of meditations about allowing the divine feminine energy to return to Earth, because there's a bunch of astrological stuff going on that day that really grounds it in, and it's really exciting. So I'll put the link to that down below. Also, in the next couple of days, I will be opening up a new course, which I'm very excited about, which is a dreaming course. I've been working on it for a really long time, exactly how to formulate this thing to let us remember our dreams and interpret them and utilize them to help us. So, we'll see how it goes. And I'm really excited to introduce it to you guys. And one more shot of the beautiful river where I am in this park in New Orleans. There's a bird right there who's been fishing quietly this whole time. He's kind of hiding herself now, or trying to be incognito, I guess. And there's our lovely pelican friend and our turtle friend. Oh, I don't see our turtle friend anymore, so there's the pelican. Thanks, pelican. Alright guys, much love. Go in peace. I have lots of stuff I want to record to you guys about sun gazing and about sleep schedules. And so expect more in the coming days. And love from New Orleans, and I will see you on the astrals.